Well, hi everyone. I am sitting here at my desk. If you can't tell, my office is kind of in shambles because I got my shop reopened. Thank you to everybody for supporting it. It's still open, and I do plan to put a couple of maybe like small new things out for Black Friday, but stay tuned for that. In the meantime, the reason I'm recording down here is because normally my bedroom, which is where I love to record because the light is gorgeous and looks pretty and all the things. The light today is really weird. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to record up in my office. Hopefully that this works for you. Today I'm going to be going over my goals for October and then talking about my November goals coming up and going over just how the month has gone. Now I'm filming this with a couple days left, but I don't honestly think anything in my October goals that isn't already done is going to get finished, except maybe going to see leaves. Other than that, the rest is probably just going to either get booted to November or put somewhere else. So let's get started. So before we get into the October goals, let's just talk about how October went. Last month, if you watched my check-in video, I talked about how I realized I'm not a superwoman. When I get sick, it lasts a lot longer. Well, I found out that it's not just me being sick that's had me extra run down lately. I am now severely iron deficient. So let's tell a tale, if you will, about trying to get my hands on some iron. I'm a home hemodialysis patient. I've been on dialysis since the beginning of the year, and we do it 5 times a week at home. One thing that can happen really often with dialysis patients is that they get anemic. They become iron deficient because of the way that dialysis works and the way your kidneys are not working and everything else. That's my fancy way of saying I have no idea how it works. I just know it works that way. Back in the summer, I was told by my nephrologist that I needed to start doing an iron infusion once a week. So Jesse takes a liquid iron, pulls 5 mils of it, and then pushes it into my dialysis at the end of the session. It's gross. It tastes like fucking rusty ass beef jerky, but whatever. So I had 6 weeks worth of it, and then I was supposed to refill it and continue on for another 6 weeks. I could not get it to refill through the pharmacy at all. Every time I talked to them, it was like a brick wall. So when I went to my clinic visit, I hadn't had iron in a couple of weeks, so they did a second refill. We decided to try it again, and I ran into the same problems at the pharmacy, except this time it was that they didn't carry it, so they had to have it shipped to me. Okay, they said it shipped on September 20th. I never got a tracking number. I think I talked about some of this in my last video. Well, I went to my next visit mid-October, and it hadn't had iron since then. Like, I hadn't had iron since before my last visit. I was like, dude, I cannot get my hands on it. They ran my blood work, and I am now really iron deficient, which explains why I'm so fatigued. Like, on top of everything else, on top of being sick, on top of allergies, being really iron deficient, it has caused some extreme fatigue, and my restless leg has gotten worse, which of course is just the fucking cherry on top. So this time they tried calling directly to get my iron. Still didn't work, but I called again, talked to the same guy, and he had me go to the warehouse and pick it up. Thankfully, the warehouse is not that much further from where my clinic and everything is, so I was able to do that. But yeah, so now I'm getting it 3 times a week. Fuck. So that led to a lot of October being really hard for me, like getting the shop reopened, but being so exhausted all the time. It's been a little bit of a adventure, to say the least. I've been kind of spotty on how my videos have been going up. I did manage to get all the orders I got out on time, but like, dude, I'm having a moment. So that is something that can reflect in some of what we'll see in this month's goals. So let's go to October and take a look at it. We have my personal goals right here. Keep working on routines. I actually have started to do a little bit better with the Makselife weekly check-ins. Did I do this past week? I don't think I did this past week. I did not do this past week, but I anticipate I will be doing this coming up Sunday. So woohoo, that's awesome. And haven't gotten to the monthly yet. Plants have actually been going really, really well. I'm going to just check that one off now because even if I'm not done with it yet, it's going really well. So the one that has not been going well is this waking up at 6:30 a.m. I think I did it once this entire month. We're going to focus on that next month. We'll talk about it. When it comes to fun and recreation, this month already has been pretty awesome. There's some things that aren't even reflected on here, but we'll talk some of that when we get to family and relationships. However, with the fun and recreation, we actually have done fairly well. We did go to the pumpkin festival, and the funny thing is, when I went to the pumpkin festival with Jesse, the kids didn't wind up going because Sonny was sick, and RJ was like, well, if Sonny's not going because he's fucking 17 and doesn't want to be seen with me, except if I'm buying him food. Which, if he had gone to the pumpkin festival, we had some pretty good carnival food there, so ha ha. Anyway, it was great. Jesse and I got pumpkins. We went in the corn maze and got lost for an hour. I wore really cute brown boots. That was a mistake. I should not have worn the brown boots. It was the first time I've worn them all season. I was feeling my fall vibes, and I got home and I fucked my baby toe up because it was just rubbing wrong. We got lost in the corn maze for an hour, and I was basically hobbling around for like a week and a half afterwards because I blood blister, and it was gross, dude. I'm not going to talk too much about my nasty feet problem, but the point being is that I overdid it, but not in the way you would expect. I overdid it on my feet. I did take my Sunday off. I've taken more than 2 days off each week because I've been sick, but like, I feel like in terms of my personal life, I have had despite opening up the shop, maybe because I was sick, it's forced me to slow down a little bit, and that can be a good thing. One thing we haven't done yet is go see Leaves. Looking at work and learning, like I said, I got the shop reopened. The HB90 stuff, however, has been extremely not happening. That's like one of the things that sort of went, I've not done a lot of work while on dialysis. I've mostly been either sleeping or playing video games like on my iPad just because I've been feeling so wretched. So I don't feel guilty. I will just get right back on the horse next month. When it comes to family and relationships, I slammed all of the dates out of the park, whereas the fake Thanksgiving stuff or the plan for the holiday stuff didn't go quite as well. Got the dates right out of the park. Like I said, Sunny and RJ, we did our lunches in the same week. Sunny and I went and had, where did we go? We got sushi. And then, where did we get sushi though? Oh, we went to a place I wanted to try. Different place than we've been to before. Really good. And then RJ and I went to get fish and chips from a place that we really love. Jesse and I went on both of our dates. We went, I think I counted the Pumpkin Festival as a date because it was just the two of us. Although we did go out to dinner, and then the best was unexpected, but we went to a jam night at a local bar that is hosted by this house band. They advertised it on Reddit. That's where I heard about it. And we went. They're starting to get this off the ground. And Jesse was able to get up there and play a bunch of music with these guys, which is the first time he's played with people for the most part since we moved. That felt really good. We're going to do that again in a couple of weeks. I should probably put that in my November goals because I haven't done that yet. As for the stuff having to do with the holidays, we did a little bit of it, but not enough to check anything off. It's moving to November's goals. Health and wellness, as you can tell by my hesitancy, still did not do as well as I wanted. I did get onto the walking pad a couple of times. You can see here, we're already starting to give myself the iron, so I'll just check it off there. This was when we got the iron, so it is, only 2 of those weeks, but that was basically because that's all I could do. And like I said, walking pad, I didn't get onto it this week, mostly because all of the time I've been in the office for the most part, I have been packing orders, and the walking pad just isn't practical for that. But I did get on there more than once a week, I'm pretty sure, those 2 weeks. So that's better. But the Peloton, I still have been struggling. And again, the fatigue. Like, I don't blame myself for not getting onto it because I have been so fatigued. But now that my energy is starting to come back, November is going to be my month for Peloton, I think. Watch it. Watch me happen. The other thing that I wrote on here that wasn't actually on my goals, but it happened and I wanted to make a note of it, is that I finally got signed up for Medicare. Fucking finally. In case you didn't know, in the United States, Medicare is the socialized health program for people who are over the age of 65. You're eligible for it with your age and if you've paid into it with jobs that you've worked. And even though I work for myself right now, I worked for grocery stores for 20 years. So I paid into it for the required amount of time. The other way, thanks Richard Nixon, of all fucking people, that you can qualify for Medicare if you are not of age to qualify for Medicare is if you go into end-stage renal disease and you either get a transplant or you go on dialysis or both. But I have had so much trouble getting hold of the fucking Social Security office that it just took 85 years to get signed up for it. So now I'm just waiting for my card to show up so I can finish the onboarding, but the process has been started. Fucking thank God, because I'm about to hit the next year and my out-of-pocket max that we hit back in January that we're still paying off is going to start over again, and this will take care of some of that. Now, with all of that to be said in terms of, oh, I fucked it up again. Oh, I didn't do it again when it came to health and wellness and maybe even some other things, I have a pleasant surprise, something that surprised even me. And that is that for spiritual and personal growth, I did indeed go to First Unitarian Universalist, First Universalist in Denver. So my two actions were to pick a Sunday and to go on that Sunday. And I just did that last Sunday. I got to hear the senior minister, and he's awesome. I really like him, so that affirms that I do want to keep going there. But on the better note, I got to hear their choir, which was like 40 some odd people. They were really good. And all I could think when I was sitting there was, God, I wish I was up there singing with them. So I talked to the music director, and she invited Sunny and I, because Sunny also loves to sing in choirs. We're going to show up on November 8th because they have a big performance coming up the first weekend of November that they've already been working on. It's too late for us to join in on that. I'm not going to be there that weekend anyway. We'll talk about that when we get to November. But that November 8th is when they're going to start working on the big Christmas Eve show. So Sunny and I are welcome to come and join up. And so we're going to do that, and you'll see that reflected in my goals for next month. But I'm feeling really good about it. I'm really glad I went that day. I'm really glad I heard that sermon, and I'm really glad I heard the choir. It solidified a lot of things for me and reinvigorated my oomph for dealing with it. When it comes to financial, I have still not finished the budget yet. I'm waiting for Jesse to give me some information, but he's had some work stuff that has just sort of sucked his life dry. So I am going to make him a quick list and ask him to just add the numbers in for me. Hopefully I'll be doing that by the end of the month, but I won't be able to get the budget finished until probably the first week or two of November, probably the second week, just because the first week is going to be busy, as you're about to hear. I haven't checked no buy off because I haven't hit the end of the month yet, but it's been going well. I will update that next month. And then daily budget check-ins hasn't really happened because I haven't really gotten the budget set up yet. So moving forward, spoiler alert, I'm pretty sure that next year a big focus is going to be on financial stuff as well. We'll talk more about that in December when I get to those things. We have been having money conversations every single week, though, both because of this Medicare thing and for other reasons. Our communication is opening up. Not that it was bad before, but I tend to stick my head in the sand, and Jesse sometimes doesn't have the energy to pull me out of the sand. But we've been having conversations, so it's been moving very slowly, but there has been incremental amounts of movement. When it comes to physical environment, I'm just going to show you right here. There is half done and half not done. The half done is the decorating for fall. The half not done is the couple of things that I wanted to get done. Planting bulbs, the weather has been so up and down that I just haven't had a good day to do it. And the days I have had potentially a good day, I haven't had the energy. The countertops, that just fucking fell completely off my radar. I need to check in with my goals more. And the light switch, Jess and I are still undecided on whether or not we want to attempt to fix it ourselves or get an electrician. The debate is still real. On top of that, any energy we had in terms of home projects got kind of sucked up when we got back from that jam night, which was so much fun. But then another story time. We walk into the garage. Oh, no, we don't walk in the garage. We drive into the garage, and I open my car door, and Jesse and I are both sitting there, and we look, and fresh fluid is right under the side of Jesse's car. Now, our first thought was that his car had a leak, and we were like, fuck, now we have to get the car fixed. And then Jesse looked up and saw that the reason he thought it was coming from the car is because there was a leak from the fucking ceiling that was going down the side of the garage door light, like the garage door opener machine. So it didn't look like it was coming from the ceiling. It looked like it was coming from the car. But when you took a better look at the whole situation, you realized that fluid wasn't actually from the car. It was from the ceiling. And we were like, that is right above the dialysis machine. Oh, fuck. I literally ran upstairs. It's one full flight of stairs plus another small flight of stairs. Lucky I didn't wipe out. I got up there, figured out it wasn't the machine that was leaking. It was the faucet in the wall that was leaking. We think it was it got a little corroded, and so the threading wasn't as watertight. And so it had leaked and ran down the wall and then got the carpet wet. Now, thankfully, we opened up the wall and we opened up the ceiling because this is not the first time that we have had a leak run through. Thanks, RJ. Twice. And it looked like there wasn't any mold. It was pretty brand new. It should just be some drywall work and then whatever we need to do to fix that one faucet. So we got it all. We ran some fans on it. We opened it all up, and we also were still able to run dialysis. So that kind of took precedent on terms of any house stuff because it was much more pressing. We're going to need to do some drywall repair, and it's going to be next month's problem. So that is October. Like I said, it was a lot of the big things I wanted to accomplish happened, but it happened kind of with an undertone of me being exhausted the whole time. I am really hoping that November I get a little perkier because I am nothing if not obnoxious when I'm perky. I'm pretty sure that the theme for November for me is going to be enjoying the beginnings of the holidays, prepping for Vlogmas, and kind of laying some really good groundwork for 2024, especially when it comes to financial stuff. Let's just jump right into it with personal. So my focus for personal is to actually get up at 6:30 a.m. My big reason behind this is, and I've mentioned this before, I tend to wake up around 7:15, and it's really hard for me, especially lately as fatigued as I've been. It actually, the last month or so, has been very reminiscent of right before I started dialysis when I was so fucking exhausted that, like, getting myself out of bed in the morning, like, I almost wanted to cry every morning. It was so bad. So I am hoping that once I get this iron into my system and the time change coming, which I tend to react pretty strongly physically to the time change, but I also am able to get a little bit of a little, like, the evenings kill me, but the mornings tend to go pretty well. So I'm hoping I can utilize that as a catalyst to start getting up at 6:30 because that extra half an hour means the fucking world to me when I'm trying to get people out of the house and dogs to daycare and myself dressed and get ready for dialysis, because as soon as I get back from dropping everybody off, I have to start cannulating and getting ready for dialysis. I don't have a lot of time. If I don't do all of my things I need to do in the morning, I have to do them after dialysis, which means A, sometimes I'm sitting there and I haven't showered, and I really don't like that. And B, it cuts into any working time I have right after dialysis. So that extra half an hour in the morning is crucial, and I've not been fighting for it as hard as I should be. So let's take a look. Okay, so my goals here, and I'll highlight my habits as we go along because I didn't get around to it. My main focus is to get up at 6:30 a.m. And what I realized very quickly this month, although I still didn't take care of it, was that I was going to bed later than I should in order to get up at 6:30. So my first habit will be bedtime at 9:30 and then wake up at 6:30 a.m. I'm keeping plants on here because when I took it off, I wasn't as good at keeping on top of them. And I'm keeping Makselife daily on here for the same reason. That's 4 habits right there. And then I've also got my weekly and monthly check-ins for Makselife. But the main focus is going to be bedtime at 9:30, wake up at 6:30. That gives me 9 hours of sleep, which may seem excessive, but when you're in fucking kidney failure, believe me when I tell you, it is not excessive, especially because my sleep is not a very good sleep. I don't get very good unbroken sleep anymore, in part because of restless leg, which is a fucking bitch. Now, for fun and recreation, we actually have a lot going on this month, not even counting Thanksgiving. Since I've started dialysis, I haven't flown anywhere. It has been too scary. It's why I didn't go to Go Wild, despite being at Go Wild for every other one. I have just been too afraid to try flying. Well, we are doing some dialysis juggling, and I'm going to be gone for 2 nights, so less than 72 hours, because I will still have time on either end of my trip to dialyze, and I'll just be missing 1 day, which is fine to not miss a day. Like, I take a day, 2 days off of dialysis every week anyway, because at the beginning of November, I'm going to be flying to Cincinnati to go to Kristen Damien's baby shower. Kristen from Chrissy Ann Designs. If you don't know, she's pregnant. I mean, obviously, she's having a baby shower. And Jeanette from Wild for Planners is throwing the baby shower. And I haven't seen all of them since I started dialysis. If you don't know, Jeanette has ALS. I really want to see her, and I haven't been able to see her in quite some time. I want to see Kristen and everybody else. And I'm just making this trip. I still don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to Go Wild or not. I'm not sure. Like, this will give me some idea of, like, a test run of what it can be like to fly without having to worry about, without juggling the dialysis. Now, the big issue I'm going to run into is if I get stuck there for whatever reason. But if that's the case, I swear to God, I will get a rental car and drive my happy ass back to Colorado. I will get my dialysis. I'm nervous, but I'm also excited. And it turns out now that it looks like Jesse's going to have to go to California for a meeting. So he's also going to be doing a quick turnaround trip on my other non-dialysis day of the week. So it's going to be a very interesting first week. Last week of like the week you're seeing this, I'm going to be in the middle of it. So wish me luck and follow me on Llama Letters if you want to find out if I survived or not. As for the rest of October, or the rest of the stuff for enjoying November, I'm going to be buying tickets to go see the Botanic Garden lights for Christmas. We actually were supposed to go do that last year, but that was the day that our temperature dropped like deeply below zero. It was fucking like they closed it. We weren't able to go. So this year we're going to try again. And then taking Sunday off and 2 days off. The Sunday off is actually going to be the weekend of Kristen's baby shower, so that should happen pretty quickly. When it comes to like Thanksgiving and shit, I'm not really worried about it. We're not going to see family this year because that kind of traveling would require more traveling than what I'm doing for the baby shower, and we just don't have it in us to make that kind of a whirlwind trip with the kids and everything else. So we're going to zoom in to our family Thanksgiving this year and then hopefully see everybody next year for the holidays. When it comes to work and learning, I didn't put any of my work goals into my planner with the exception of the HB90 stuff, purely because it's a little all over the place this month. The overall theme though, and it's something that's captured in my Notion, is to prep for Vlogmas. I should highlight my little things here too. I'm just talking to myself while I'm doing this. Isn't this fun? Let me know if you really enjoy my disjointed ramblings for this kind of video. The HB90 stuff is in here for weekly and monthly, but everything else is mostly about getting like things scheduled and deciding on topics for all my live streams and letting everybody know about that, and if I'm doing any giveaways and all those other things. It's just a bunch of stuff like that that I didn't want to list out in my planner. I'm going to list it out in my Notion, and I will just put into my planner the stuff I need each week to keep going with work. When it comes to family and relationships, our focus is going to be a Friendsgiving. So one day we're going to be doing zooming in with my sisters who are doing Thanksgiving together. And then there's going to be another day we're going to have some friends over for Thanksgiving. And so we need to finalize the date, send out the invites, make my list for shopping, and then actually have it. That's all on here. Like I said, most of that got booted from October. And then I got my regular family and relationship shit, my dates with Sunny and RJ, 2 dates with Jesse, a friend date, calling my sisters, and I added on going to another jam night with Jesse, separate from a date night. I guess it could be considered a date night, but I promised him I would go with him to another one. So that's all on for family relationships, and I am excited because November is a favorite month of mine, whether or not I get to see my family, because I love the food that is associated with Thanksgiving, and I love that like time when things are starting to transition to like the winter, but it's not quite there yet. Moving on to health and wellness, again, some repeats. I just want to move my body more. That is very much my focus for next month. I want to get back on the Peloton on a regular basis. I want to get the walking pad at least once a week, but more than that, hopefully all 4 weeks. I'm on my iron again for the next few weeks, and then we'll hear back. I have an appointment the second week of November to find out if it's going to continue, but in the meantime, yeah, iron. And then I have a few other items here that just, the Medicare thing made me remember that there's a couple things I need to make sure get done, so putting them here just makes sense. Getting the Medicare paperwork wrapped up. It's basically like getting the payments arranged for the premiums or whatever. And then I need to get an echocardiogram scheduled before the end of the year and an OBGYN appointment that for some reason has been really hard to get scheduled. So that's my health and wellness, so exciting. And then spiritual and personal growth, the category that I feel really motivated in right now. I want to go to First UU twice this next month and choir rehearsals once a week once we start going. Now, I don't know for sure if it's going to be 4 times because I don't know if they're rehearsing. I don't have a calendar for all the rehearsals. I just know it's Wednesday nights. So until we have an idea, I just put the 4 dots here. But yeah, choir rehearsals. I'm excited about this one. I didn't even put a focus because I don't even feel like I need to. It's obvious what my focus is. Choir rehearsal. Woohoo! And as for financial, we already talked a little bit about my mindset on that one, to finalize budget and pay for Christmas. So finish YNAB. The no-buy is a daily habit. The daily check-ins will be a daily habit as soon as we get the budget finalized. And just finishing funding Christmas. If I can get everything purchased or as much as possible purchased in November, then I'll feel really good about it. And then my most fun category, which is my physical space, which has been the category that I score the highest in, I have been the happiest with, and now it's time for Christmas, which is always fun now in this house. I love decorating this house. I was never into decorating, but this house is fun to decorate. Decorating is my focus for the month, which makes total sense, I think. So we've got pull out decor, decorate the front porch, the front room, the living room, the banister, and everything else. And then I also put on here Patrick and our dialysis drywall situation. The other things, the light switch, the countertops, whatever, I might get to those. I might boot those till December. I don't know. I might just put them on a to-do list and take them off my goals altogether. Who fucking knows at this point? Just as long as I have it written down somewhere, because obviously where I had it written down before was not helping me remember to do it. And those are all my goals for November. If you can't tell, I'm in a really good mood, and I think it's because we may actually be able to solve some of this fatigue I've been feeling as opposed to just settling for it. Like, I recognize that, like I said, I am in kidney failure. I will still feel like shit, but at the same time, if I can make my normal be better than what it's been, that's awesome. And that's what I'm hoping for. I'm really excited for Vlogmas in December, so I do need to lay some groundwork for that. And I'd love to hear anything you'd like to see from me in Vlogmas in the comments below. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care of yourself, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you again. Peace.